Turning our attention to Erie City Council on February 1st, expected to approve the first building to be named to the city's historical preservation list.
It's the PACA building on State Street, and it's loaded with history. John Last took a tour for this edition of The Last Word.
Sometimes you pass by a building every day and you just don't know how old it is or what has happened on that property over the years, which could be quite interesting. Well, today I want to learn all I can about the PACA building on State Street in Erie.
Everything's inspected.
What better person to teach me about this building than Mark Tannenbaum, the executive director of PACA, the Performing Artists Collective Alliance. Mark is dedicated to preserving the PACA building, originally the Mayor building, built in 1899. He loves Erie architectural history and is saddened by old buildings that have been torn down over the years.
There's no doubt that Erie was a museum of turn-of-the-century architecture, and that many people would have just flocked to our city as a tourist destination just to see the buildings. But a majority of those buildings have been torn down and replaced with other pieces of real estate.
Mark has boxes of old pictures and postcards of magnificent buildings in Erie that are no longer standing. Some were located in close proximity to his beloved PACA building on the 1500 block of State Street.
Right across the street was the Erie Central Market. I remember the Erie Central Market, and there were 30 or 40, maybe more, I think even 100 stalls in that building.
Mark was instrumental in the PACA building being named to the National Registry of Historic Places. He worked hard to get the building on the City of Erie's historic preservation list. The building has a fascinating history. There's an I-beam in the rear of the structure that was bent by debris from the raging waters of the Mill Creek flood of 1915. It's a sobering sight to see.
It could only be a flood to have that much force. And people, again, underestimate the power of moving water.
Inside the building on the 4th floor is a sink. It was installed for nurses to wash their hands during the typhoid epidemic of 1911. The entire floor was offered by building owner Henry Mayer to be used to treat typhoid patients because hospitals were full. He even installed this elevator to carry patients to that floor. The elevator is still in use today. The PACA building has all kinds of history that will be preserved for future generations to admire.
We're not going anywhere, and we're glad to be part of the community.
With the last word in front of the PACA building in downtown Erie, John Last, Erie News Now.
It's like being back in the classroom today. What a tour. The city of Erie can designate a building or an entire block to be on the historical preservation list. Special funding is available for improvements for those properties.
Yeah, $800,000 also set aside for those improvements. And the PACA building, by the way, needs new wooden front doors. Guess how much that costs?
How much?
$30,000. We'll be right back.